The Rosenkavalier is a fast-moving social comedy. It's intensely theatrical, and the music is most sublime. It's intelligent, it's funny, it's very detailed, but it's also profoundly human, which is what really essentially appeals to me. And it's about love, it's about the nature of love, but it's also about lust. We were talking about where to set it, and we decided to go for the 1950s. First of all, because it allows us to have the most amazing dresses for the Marceline and Sophie, but also because it's an interesting period where there is something changing in kind of the way women are seen and see the world. And this is very much the difference between the Marceline and Sophie, with similar education. The Marceline keeps doing what she was trained to do, whilst Sophie says to her dad, "No, Daddy, I won't do that." So it's an interesting time period that feels right. The other thing for me that was interesting, and I remember at the time when I was working on the piece, I was rereading Mrs. Dalloway and I was looking at Proust, and it's the idea of time. I mean, it's an essential theme in the opera. Everybody knows it's about time. The Marceline has a most amazing soliloquy in Act One about that. The idea of the way time transforms things, the way time changes things. And for me, it was the idea of time was threefold. One of which is obviously you have the chronological time passing and time changing things. You also have the idea of time stopping. I think that this is an essential thing in the opera, for example, with the presentation of the Rose, with the trio at the end, but also for me with the Italian tenor aria in Act One. For me, time stops, and it gives me an opportunity to delve into the psyche of the Marceline and what she's thinking and what she's feeling, etc. So time passing, time stopping, and also time travel. And the way Proust with the Madeleine, kind of the famous scene where eating a bit of the Madeleine brought Proust back to when he was a kid eating it. It's the idea and for that I use the sense of smell, the sense of the smell of the rose and how that smell brings you back to a different time in a different place. So yeah, this was something I was keen to think about and to explore. So I have vignettes appearing throughout the piece with this idea of time. Gary and I were invited to Vienna on a kind of a study tour, if you like, and it was really interesting. We saw some palaces of the nobility, some houses from the more the bourgeoisie, the up and coming, and we saw the house where Hofmannsthal wrote and where he died. We visited a lot of things and we discussed in great detail what it is to be Viennese and the different social strata. But what inspired then Gary in his design is the Baroque element in the palaces and the Baroque volutes, which we have. This key design element that Gary focused on appears in Act One in a very clean, less is more way, almost to some extent. It's very simple, like white plaster. It reappears in Act Two in a much larger, much bigger room with gold added to them. And it feels like it's the bourgeoisie who said to the architect, please, can we have what they have, but can we show the money we spent on it? So that was the starting point. Act 3 is a very different act, where we have the same visual element, but now in a quite a tacky green and yellow wallpaper. And Act 3 for me is in two parts. You have the first part, which is the inn with the comedy, and the second half, which is when the Marceline appears. And for that, I wanted a coup de théâtre. I wanted something huge, as big as the music that accompanies her entrance. And so I asked Gary for something, and he delivered that with her arrival marks the beginning of the end, the beginning of the epilogue, if you like. So we had kind of a nice coup de théâtre for that.